And a warm good evening to you from Drake Stadium on the campus of Drake University. It's Paul Yeager here on DowlingWebcasting.com. Glad you could be with us here as we begin the 2013 campaign for Dowling Catholic football. Here at Drake, it's an exciting football game. Sophomores are playing. Right now, it is a 37-23 Dowling Catholic lead over Valley. The freshmen of Valley defeated Dowling's freshman last night, and that is the way that ball game. And the varsity will be kicking off about half an hour, so we're going to be with you here for a little while tonight and get you ready for high school football. It's one of those football games that they don't make them any better than this, especially in the state of Iowa. It is Valley, it is Dowling. It's an exciting football game. This is a rivalry that it's the 65th meeting between these two squads, and it's just one of those football games where usually ends up that the winner of this ball game goes on to play at the Unidome, either for a chance at the state title or in the semifinals. They make it in one way or another. So we have a jam-packed first half here for you tonight. We've got all sorts of people coming to talk to. My color analyst will be Billy Battistone. He'll be joining us here in a little bit. But we're going to go ahead and bring in our Valley analyst from ValleyWebcasting.com. That's Keith Bornes, and he's down on the sideline. And first of all, Keith, you're standing in the middle of all of that maroon. I hope you don't catch anything if you're a Valley guy. Are you worried about that?
Well, that's actually a pretty unique feeling walking down the sideline with all of the maroon coming out. But, it's also a funny feeling when you look into the crowd and you know several of the people from your own community. They just look a little bit different wearing their maroon colors. And so I survived. Seth protected me. And we are looking forward to a great ball game tonight. Some of the keys for Valley, of course, would be they got to have some good on-the-line play tonight, both offensively and defensively. Offensively speaking, trying to create holes for Gray and Mason to be able to run through. And defensively, as every Dowling person knows and everybody else in the state is sure to know as well, how do you contain your quarterback, Ryan Boyle? Fantastic athlete, doing a wonderful job this year, coming off of a big injury from last year. And so the keys are going to be one in the trenches.
All right, Keith, that's the best thing I've ever heard you say. One of the reasons is I can't hear what you said, but I know it was insightful. No.
You are a silver-tongued double,
our color analyst on the ValleyWebcasting.com website, giving you a little insight of what is the Valley Tigers and what this game is all about. We're going to talk a little bit of Dowling Catholic, though. Ryan Osborne, class of 01, is also the director of development here at Dowling Catholic. So, Ryan, get over here. Just step a little bit. We need to see that field instead of that crazy press box behind you. But this is an exciting place to play.
Absolutely. It's a gorgeous night. We're a little fortunate. We got the shade side tonight on the Dowling side, so we're going to be in good shape. It'll give us a little stamina for later.
Well, and I'll tell you what, last week was one of those weeks. The Maroons were over at Southeast Polk, and I don't think it was any cooler in Altoona than it was in West Des Moines.
No, it wasn't. They got that good trick play on us at the start, and then we cooled them down pretty good after that. It was a good game, though.
Well, Coach Tom Wilson, what a great group. Your office is just down the hall from him. You probably get to see him quite a bit, especially during football season. I'm sure you see a lot. Oh, wait, no, he's always in that office trying to cook up some things. Talk about your office. Was walking up to school today, and I can see it. I can see the vision of what's going to be there when you come in from that west side. That chapel is going to be amazing. Tell me about the St. Joseph Chapel.
Absolutely, Paul. Yeah, we're extremely excited about it for all of our alums listening around the country. Hopefully people have been able to see the drawings, but exactly right, Paul. The new St. Joseph Chapel, named in honor of the legacy of the St. Joseph Academy and the faith that they had and passed along down the decades. It's going to be a new chapel and a new school entrance in the Circle Drive. So if you come onto campus right now, if you can kind of picture that circle, there's a flagpole. The chapel is going to go right out into that circle. So it's really going to be the introduction to campus going forward and kind of the first thing you see coming on Dowling's property. And just be kind of a beacon for the school and really speak to the mission of the school as well. So we're really excited.
So I was trying to see how that's going to fit. It will displace that circle drive. You'll move that a little closer to Buffalo Road. But what else, how big is that thing going to be? Big enough to hold everybody from campus in there at one time?
It won't be big enough to hold the entire student body, but it will be big enough to hold one class. So, for instance, we could have a senior class mass in there. We could have a junior, sophomore, freshman class mass. And we've been doing some of that a little bit more and more in these last couple of years, but there's just really not a dedicated space to hold a group that size. We could also have faculty and staff masses, alumni reunion masses. We want to be able to have back on campus as well if they want to come back for a reunion weekend or homecoming and so forth. So, and then on top of the masses, will also afford us a space to have, Stations of the Cross, other liturgies throughout the year that, we just can't do right now in a sacred, dedicated space.
What's the timetable on this? This is Ryan Osborne, Director of Development at Dowling Catholic, class of '01, so he knows what this game is all about from that side. What's the timetable for trying to turn a shovel?
The goal right now is to put a shovel in the ground this coming spring, so the spring of 2014. And right now we're in the construction and design phase. We're getting close to the final kind of steps in that. There's a meeting coming up here in a couple weeks where they're really fine-tuning the interior, and then from there they'll kind of get the blueprints and then go out and take some bids and so forth for the actual construction. With the city and the zoning and all that takes some time, but we've got a good timeline in place. And so from the fundraising standpoint, we're hoping to get all that completed around Christmas time and be able to announce that as a nice Christmas gift to the Dowling Catholic community and tell them in March of 2014 or in April of 2014, we're going to put a shovel in the ground and get this chapel starting to build.
And that's something that everybody can look forward to, monitor the progress, and I'm sure not everything's paid for, so there are opportunities, and you've probably had lots of conversations. These are those things that a lot of money is raised before you even go out to the public, but this, the St. Joseph's Chapel, is something that a lot of people can look forward to and still support.
Absolutely. We've been kind of bowled over by the number of supporters so far. We've got, I think, close to about 700 donors so far that have stepped up. If you look at the chapel and the entrance together as one, it's about a $4 million project. Right now, today, I think a little bit of more energy when school is starting back up. So we've had some nice donations come in recently, and we're getting closer to that $3.4 million mark as far as the funding goes. But we really want to get up to that $4 million mark before we start construction. And we're hoping the next few months. There's still some folks out there who would like to help, and we're just excited to keep the momentum going.
All right, I know you don't just have the chapel. I'm sure there's a couple of other things, events like this ball game, homecoming coming up, very big moments for you. Give a final pitch here.
Absolutely. It's the start of every new school year. It's just exciting time on campus, because there is a lot of events, going on. Obviously, football season's always exciting. But yeah, we have a homecoming coming up, obviously, in a few weeks. I think that's our next home game, in fact. And then, during homecoming weekend, there's a lot of reunions that occur on campus. The class of 73. Speaking of the St. Joseph Chapel, they've stepped up and made a nice gift as a class to that. They'll be coming back for homecoming. We'll be recognizing them at the game. We induct our new Athletic Hall of Fame members, which we have, I think, 5 going in this year. So a lot of good times for events. We just had the Mass of the Holy Spirit yesterday. That was kind of the official kickoff of the school year for the students and the faculty and staff. So a lot of energy going on right now and with the kickoff of the new school year.
Ryan Osborne, thank you so much for joining us.
All right, thank you, Paul. Go Maroons.
All right, we'll see you. Oh, I know your prediction's pretty easy, but by how much?
You know what? I think it's going to be a little bit high scoring than people think. Obviously, Valley's got a real tough running back, a speedster back there, but our defense is tough as well, and we certainly looked good last week. So I'm going to go somewhere in the 24 to 14 range, Maroons. Of course, and hopefully we'll get off to a fast start this week.
All right, Ryan Osborne, thank you so much. We'll talk to you probably in a couple of home games.
All right, thank you very much, Paul.
All right, thank you. That's Ryan Osborne, Director of Development here at Dowling Catholic. So we'll send him on his way, and we just have a cavalcade of guests. I mean, you should see this hallway that's standing by me. We're still kind of filling a little bit of time here. Sophomore game, 30 seconds left. 37-23. Joining me now is going to be Larry Kotler, and last week he was on our turf. Now we're on his turf. You're almost in. That's almost Drake Blue. That is darn close.
That's good.
I think because I'm staring at the blue right behind you. So we got to work with facilities to get that worked out. All right, Larry. Really, there's a couple of other games, but do they really matter tonight?
To them, to those schools, they do, and to their fans, they do. But look, I went to Valley. My wife went to Dowling. A little friendly rivalry inside the family.
Yeah, how's that been this week? Yeah.
It's been good. It's been good. We all get along. Hey, it's just a game, right?
Right.
It's all good.
It is just a game. You got a chance to see Valley last week. You got a chance to see. You haven't seen Dowling play yet, but you know a lot about Dowling. Ryan Boyle, pretty good quarterback.
Yeah, pretty good quarterback. Was good the last couple of years. Was good as a freshman. And then last year, blew out the knee and came back last week, 194 yards and on the ground, 99 in the air. Was accountable for 4 touchdowns. But the thing, the stat that jumped out at me from last week? Dowling's running game, they ran for 333 yards, and they held Southeast Polk to 9. That's almost impossible.
Well, we know that there's a couple of changes in that offensive setup and strategy at Southeast Polk, but that doesn't take anything away from that Dowling D. All right, if you had to pick, talk a little bit about Valley. I won't call it controversy. I don't think Coach wants to call it that, but who's going to be quarterback for Valley tonight? Alexander is scheduled to get the start, but I'm sure we'll see Legron.
Well, I would think that if Alexander gets the start, but right now they haven't settled on a guy. Tanner Stein was very good for them. And look, Valley quarterbacks, they don't put up big stats. They just run the team. Because let's face it, Valley lives with the running game. They always have. You go back to Zach Cutcomb and the rest of them. I mean, they live with the running game, much like Tyus Mason last week. Finally, he had a very slow first half, but he picked it up and scored the game-winning run, 61 yards. So you want somebody who can manage the game. And I thought Legron did a really good job coming off the bench and sparking a somewhat, I guess you could say, a dismal offense to that point.
Not going to put you on the spot for predictions, but what does it take for either team to win tonight?
Well, I mean, stopping the other team. I mean, they're both going to run the ball. I don't think anybody's going to really light it up in the air. The one that can dominate the line of scrimmage, that's what we see in every game. I remember being here for the Drake Grandview game. That was all about who dominated on the lines. And whoever dominates on the line tonight will win. I mean, Dowling Catholic has to be the favorite coming into this game, but we know enough about Dowling Catholic Valley games to know that nothing's a certainty.
Well, the only thing that kind of jumps out at me is, as good of a game this is, it rarely is a close ball game. You go back to that overtime game when Dowling eventually went on to the state championship. It was a 23-20. As I like to call it, my radio partner at the time, Dave Marcoulier, Wahoo was his nickname, as he came out of the booth, almost like a Jim Zabel moment when Marv Cook caught that touchdown. But he kind of went crazy. That was one of those overtime things, Larry, that other than that, these really aren't that close.
No, that's exactly right. You don't see a lot of nail-biters game. I remember one year, and I'm trying to remember, I think Valley beat Dowling Catholic 22-0, and then they played later in the year. And I can't remember, I think Dowling Catholic won the game, but I don't remember, when you get old like I do, the memory starts to fail. But you're right, early in the season, these games normally are not all that close. They don't come down to the wire, but they do later in the season if it so turns out that they play once again.
Which they could, and it's always possible. All right, other games tonight, the Iowa Sports Spotlight's watching in Central Iowa.
Well, you've got Johnston at Ankeny Centennial. Centennial got that win last week. I'm calling it the Ankeny Bowl as they defeated Ankeny High School 17-7. Johnston's a real good ball club. Curious about Ankeny at Lincoln. It's the first game at Lincoln with Andy Campbell as the new head coach. I'm curious about that game. They're Southeast Polk. Are they going to be able to bounce back tonight? They've got a stiff challenge. I believe it's Ames, if memory serves me correctly. Sam Straub is one of the top quarterbacks in the state. And I'm curious about others, East and North. Look, it's not a marquee matchup, but it's the longest running rivalry in the city. Got Hoover and you've got Urbandale tonight. Urbandale, I think it looks really good based on what we've seen last week. And Roosevelt won last week, and they're going to Indianola. So a lot of terrific games tonight. And I didn't want to neglect Waukee, who I thought looked good last week.
Would you say Waukee is going to be playing for a while in November?
I do. I think Waukee will get. I really like their quarterback. I thought Ben looked very good last week, and they could have won that football game. They could have got blown out too. It was 14-0 Valley until they had that interception in the end zone. But I like the way that Firkin played in the ball game, and I think Waukee is a team that's going to make the playoffs without question.
Well, I think Firkin was the better sophomore quarterback last week, as we found out that Gary had to make a change in that third quarter. All right, we talked a little bit about Dowling. Let's bring this back home here quick, Larry. As this game, the sophomore game, just did go final, 37-30. Maroons hold that one, so the series now is tied at 1 on this Valley Dowling weekend. Larry, defensively for the Maroons, Rico Gafford is a fun player to watch. That's one a lot of people are going to have fun watching.
Yeah, well, they are. And again, Dowling always puts up a stiff defense. They are really good defense, but both teams are. I mean, Valley's always very good defensively, too. I don't think Gary was particularly happy with the defense last week. I think he felt they were okay, but they can get a lot better. When you think about a game like this, I'm thinking something in the 20s. I don't think it's going to be a real high-scoring game, maybe upper teens, something like 24-21, but probably won't be that close, like you said, because the history of the series early in the year is not that close. So, I don't know.
That's exactly right. Nobody knows.
Nobody knows. That's the fun of it, though. But the thing we know is they're talking, there's a lot of people waiting in line out there. They're all the way up Paul Morrison Way. You can see it. They're talking about 12,000. I don't know if they'll have 12,000. By the way, to show you the magnitude of this series, I went to a website called ihigh.com, and it's ihigh.com, and they have a little section, and they call it Great American Rivalries. This game was in there. That tells you something nationally, how they feel about this game.
It is a very good game. We had the Army tie to this game a couple of years ago when they came. I think it was 4 years ago when this game was here at Drake Stadium. So it's something that they know about nationwide, maybe ESPN in a couple of years.
Maybe. I don't know. Hey, you never dismiss anything, right? But I'm just waiting to see the bowl fill up.
Yeah.
And I'm talking 11, 12,000 tonight, and that's what makes it special.
All right, Larry, we'll let you get to work. Thank you as always. We'll probably, again, talk to you next week.
Okay. Well, I don't know where I'll be, but, come find me.
We'll find you. We always do.
I know you do. You guys do a great job, and keep it up, okay?
All right, thank you very much. Larry Kyler, Iowa Sports Spotlight, also has his radio show on AM 1700. You can hear that weekdays. And we're going to continue this pregame show as we will have Seth Drury a little bit later tonight as he is on our field reporting. We're going to bring up Billy, then Willie. How about that? You know what? Take that back. We're going to bring in Billy. I want to bring in Willie first. Everybody loves Willie Farrell. Everybody knows Willie Farrell. I think the last time, Willie Farrell, that you were here, I think you kind of got ambushed, or did we ambush Amadeo? I think is the last time I saw you out here on this exact walkway.
Exactly, yes. And we ought to do it every time we do this games.
It is fun.
Yes. I also like to say my Uncle Kenny watches the game on the webcast. And hi, Uncle Kenny. I was probably freaking him out right now that he's seeing me on it.
Where's Uncle Kenny?
Uncle Kenny lives in Des Moines. He's my father-in-law's brother, and he's home watching the game. He's a faithful Dowling watcher like we all are.
Willie, you're a very young person, so this is only your, sixth or seventh Valley Dowling game?
When you think about it, it's probably my 50th, I'm guessing, something like it. I'm old. I look good because I've been sleeping in Tupperware. I look very good, but I'm doing all right.
You're doing all right. You've seen a lot of these. You've seen some good games. You've seen good coaches. You got to see Williams for a while. Now he's back on the sidelines again, but now it's Wilson. What's it been like to watch this one over the years?
Williams is, he's an icon. He's been around a long time, and a guy that keeps it up as long as he has, it's amazing, and the kids still relate to him. I think it's fantastic. But I think Wilson's, he's fantastic. I hope we can have him around for as long as he wants to stay around.
What's the best part about this? I asked both a couple of the coaches, what's the best part about this game?
It's just the fact that you get to watch these kids grow up, and you get to see how good they can be, and it's a good rivalry. As long as Valley doesn't paint anything on our walls anymore. That
was earlier in the week.
Yeah, but no, it's just a good rivalry, and you just watch a kid grow up from playing parochial ball to coming up and playing now, and hopefully going on and playing Notre Dame or Arizona State or someplace like that. It's kind of cool to watch.
You never went over to Valley High School when you were a student at Dowling, did you?
No, not back
in the middle of the night.
No, we didn't do that back then. I couldn't get a ride. Otherwise, I would have.
You would have done something. What would you have done? What's a good Willie Farrell thing you could have done?
Valley wouldn't even be around anymore. The school would be gone. There wouldn't even be anything known as a Valley High School at this point.
All right. Give me an idea on ways to enjoy this football game if you come to it. Is it best to sit in the middle of one of the sections? Is it best to sit in the middle and just focus on the game? What's a good spot to watch this game?
I think it's always fun to find an older guy that's been a Dowling fan for 50 years and sit next to him, because it's like sitting next to those two old Muppets in the balcony. Because they'll go back and tell you what they should have done and what plays they should have run, and yeah.
Are you looking at that guy right now?
Exactly, yeah, or my father-in-law who's right over here.
Yeah,
but I think that you got to get in the middle of it. You can't distance yourself. You got to get in the middle of it and enjoy every minute of it.
This is a game that I'd say I think this is only like my 8th of these, and I've seen a couple. It's hard to believe some young guy like me or something. I'm only I'm only like 15, and so I've been coming to these as a kid. But there's people who have been coming to these as a kid. There's a lot of these guys that are neighbors to one another.
Right.
That's kind of fun to be in the neighborhood to have a discussion.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting. It's like you look at the Iowa State rivalry and Michigan State, but Dowling Valley. That's it's as intense as it gets.
It is. What are you doing these days?
Just been doing a lot of comedy. I was in Las Vegas a week ago, and I was in Atlantic City a week before that, just doing stand-up comedy, and I'd be at a comedy club near you one of these days.
Just flew in and boy, are your arms tired, that kind of thing?
Exactly.
You ever played Poughkeepsie?
You know what? Not Poughkeepsie, but I think I was right outside of Poughkeepsie, which I don't know exactly where that's at. That's Pick Your Feet in Poughkeepsie. That's Popeye Doyle. Am I right? How do you know that?
Well, I do like the comedy. In fact, I just got done listening to a couple of podcasts on NPR. They were talking about the late night guys. They did old Letterman, old Leno, and they played the younger guys, the Jimmy Kimmels, the Jimmy Fallons. Of all of those guys, which one do you like to watch?
I think Letterman's the standard. I think he's the best. I mean, Carson, Letterman, but I like Fallon a lot. There's a connection. There's a kid named Steve Higgins who's from Des Moines Roosevelt. That's Fallon's side guy. I think he's fantastic. I think he'll do a great job when he takes over for Jay.
Have you been or in a club or played any of those guys in the years past?
A long time ago, I opened for Leno a couple times when he was doing the road, but that's about it.
And is the chin as big as we think it is?
It's gigantic. His head, it looks like a globe. It's unbelievable.
That's what they say about my head too, Willie, but that's a whole other story.
I can't stop from staring sometimes. When you're looking at the camera, I'm looking at you. I'm sorry.
Well, say hello again. Who else do you want to say hello to besides your Uncle Kenny?
Everybody else that I know is here. We're here. This is a beautiful night. You got to come here. But Uncle Kenny, keep watching. Don't fall asleep.
All right. Willie Farrell, thank you as always. Good to see you. We'll see you next time.
Go Maroons.
Go Maroons. That's what he has to say. That's Willie Farrell. He's always keeping us interested. And one of the guys keeping interested is Seth Drury. He's down on our sideline tonight. We're going to bring him in just a moment here as we get you ready for high school football. We're a few minutes away before the pregame of this contest, and Billy Battistone was here, and we'll find him. We'll bring him on for you. He was busy coaching those sophomores tonight, and we have all sorts of stuff coming up for you in this football game tonight. We have action, as I said, from Seth Drury. He is down on our sideline tonight. He'll be giving us some of the updates. We'll also get a chance to get some analysis and get into this football game. Last week, the Valley Tigers were busy playing Waukee and won that football game, and Billy Battistone is now going to tell me a little bit about these Dowling Maroons. Do you sleep, or do you ever get a chance to take a break, partner?
Rarely. It's a busy time of year for me, and we're up in the box with the sophomores with a big win tonight. Fall's crazy with school starting and coaching, and I'm in grad school, but I'm glad to be here, glad to be back, excited to be back for a second season. So.
Billy Battistone, internet superstar right here, and he'll be our color analyst on the Dowling Catholic broadcast. And Billy, it's good to have you back, and I know that you've enjoyed it. I think your students have kind of enjoyed it. Do they watch and grade you like you grade the players on their performance?
I had a lot of emails today from former students and graduates asking if I was going to be back on, so I think a lot of them are going to listen tonight, and I'm sure I'll get a couple critiques about language or verb usage or I'm
checking the hair.
About.
Yeah. I'm making sure the hair's fine. The hair looks good. What's left of it?
Yeah, it's starting to, part of them, I blame part of that, part of that's on them is stressing me out too much, losing my hair. So it's even going gray at 24. I'm already starting to go a little gray. So.
All right. Keith Bornes is our ValleyWebcasting.com analyst, and you and Keith know each other. I kind of wanted to have you in the same room, but both Coach Gary Swenson and Coach Tom Wilson said probably not a good idea to put you two. Is that right?
Well, he's a great coach, and it was a great game, and they're always a well-coached freshman team, and they got the better of us this year, and but I have a lot of respect for him and what he does at that program, and that's part of the fun of freshman coaching. Sometimes it's so much just line up and play, and with them you got to be tactically sound and you got to have a good game plan, and they got the better of me this year, but I think next year I'm going to have their number. So.
I just asked for how the game went in an email to Keith, and he just sent me, like 6 lines, but it was very short and succinct and to the point. He said, 2 of 6 plays you converted that were key, and they converted on 4 of 6, and that was pretty much the difference in the ball game. It was a Valley win, 21-10.
21-10, and I would say he's right on that accord. But I would also say that the only real stat you need to know from the Dowling sideline is we turned the ball over 7 times.
He did mention that.
Yeah, if you turn the ball over 7 times, to quote Jim Mora, it doesn't matter who you play, but you turn the ball over like that, and you can't expect to win a football game. So,
all right, winning football games. The sophomores won tonight. How did the Dowling Catholic varsity Maroons win tonight, Billy?
Well, they're going to have to run the ball. They're going to have to stop the run. Valley is a team that likes to line up and power the football right at you, so they're going to have to stop the run. On offense, they're going to have to control the ball with this high-tempo offense. We saw it a little bit in the sophomore game. You get a scenario when you really need to kind of work the clock, but that's not what this offense is about now. This offense is about snaps and snaps, and so you're going to make sure you're staying healthy, staying hydrated, keeping fresh legs on the field, but at the same time, you don't want to be running yourself out of your game plan. So I think by controlling the ball, running a lot of plays, and then obviously keeping Valley off the field, that's the easiest way to keep them out of the end zone. So it's going to be a great game.
And I think it was something about 81 or 74 players or 74 plays the Maroons ran last week, and they want to do it again.
And that's the goal. It's to have it. The play clock is down to 20. It's 5 seconds after they snap the ball. We want to run a play. So they've changed the way they're signaling in plays this year. It's faster, it's more efficient, and it's streamlined. And it's paying dividends in terms of play calls, and hopefully that translates to more scoring.
All right, Billy, we'll see you on the inside
Yeah,
in just a couple of minutes.
All right, sounds good.
Catch your breather, and I'm going to bring on the next guest.
Sounds good, thank you.
All right, Billy, that's Billy Battistone, our color analyst on the site. He'll join us in just a couple of minutes. You can't but help feel the enthusiasm that he has. As I'm standing here on top of Drake Stadium, I am looking towards the south along University Avenue. Come on in here, Chris. And I'm still seeing people lined in, so Chris Coleman, how did you get into this game so soon and not have to stand in a line?
Well, I had money with me.
So money always talks.
I took a ticket and I came in. Actually, some great Dowling families had a tailgate for senior parents tonight. So we were over there and had a great time with about 50, 60 couples.
You've got a senior already?
Yeah, actually I have 2 in college, and our third is a senior. So a new generation of Colemans. My dad went to Dowling, we went to Dowling. My 5 kids will be there, so I have 2 that are graduated and a senior and a sophomore now.
It's been a long time since I've seen those kids, and I still remember them much smaller than what they were.
We brought them to a lot of ball games with them on a backpack on our back or in a stroller, so it's great. What a great environment tonight.
This one's fun when it's at Drake Stadium, and it's fun when it's at Valley, and it's the Valley home side too, because that place fills up, but it pretty much fills up for either team's home games. But what's fun about coming to the game here?
Well, we're Beaverdale people. We're, kind of in the neighborhood, so it's always a point of pride. And when, the city was involved, so I got this job on the city council. And,
I meant to say that. City council member Chris Coleman.
Woo. So I was so excited about this because I knew that occasionally Dowling could play here, and it's just such a great environment. The end zone will, fill in here. There's a ton of people still wandering around the concourse out there. It's a great environment, and I just love it. And this team is good.
Oh, this one, did you go last week?
Yes, I did. Yeah.
So what did you take away? Coach Wilson was saying, Billy and I were just talking about the number of offensive plays. Coach Wilson, I don't know if you know this, they didn't. Well, of course you know they didn't huddle last week. Guess how many times they've huddled this season?
Well, they didn't huddle last week.
And I should say even in practice. Twice.
Really? Well, it's impressive. They are focused and intentional. My son is a senior, so he's played sports with a lot of these boys, and I've watched most of their games over their career. And I wasn't totally sold, to be honest with you. I was so impressed last week with the way they dominated. I think Southeast Polk had 5 yards of rushing or something. It was just amazing.
5, 9, depends on who you want to pay attention to. Because I was told 5, and other people telling me 9. So, 5 to 9, it's still single digits.
Yeah, it's really impressive. And, it's easy team to root for. We know a lot of these kids. They're great kids, the kind of people that model the best of Dowling and the kind of generation we hope is being raised here in the Des Moines area.
All right, Chris Coleman is our guest, city council member, as we still have quite a ways to go before this game. So if you think we've just gotten started, we're going to now start talking city politics. No,
okay.
All sorts of things going on. Tell me about your day job, though. It's not just on the city council. You have another one that I've talked to you before, and other people have seen you on the news, not just talking city business.
Yeah, I'm lucky to be at the Better Business Bureau, and it's a great time to be there because we're able to help a lot of people. We have some great businesses throughout Iowa. They do business kind of the old-fashioned way, the way you want to see things done. They stand by their word. But the internet has allowed all kinds of charlatans to come in and scam people, and it's a horrible situation that a lot of people find themselves in. Predominantly the elderly and poor people find themselves as victims of scams. And so I'm lucky to be at the Better Business Bureau, where we're trying to help provide tips and guidance and help resolve some of these disputes.
Do you see anything different in the time that you've in that job? Have the scams just gone from the mail to the email?
That's a big piece of it. But they've also, scam artists are investing a lot more money. We see a lot of, in our world, we call them like advanced fee scams. So somebody gives you some money that's not really money, and they tell you to do something with it. But the checks that they send you, the money orders, all that looks so real. It spoofs the banks a lot of times. They'll take it, they'll put it in their drawer, they'll process it, and it's not for days later that somebody figures out they were really scammed by somebody, and that's a problem. And so that's changed. The other thing is all these online sales sites, and I'm not anti-Craigslist or eBay. We bought stuff there and sold stuff there, but you have to be real careful who you're dealing with, because that's the home field for scam artists.
And one of the times we always see, I just always remember sending out people for newsroom coverage is, there's been a storm and somebody's going to repair your roof and they're not accredited or bonded or insured, and that's important, and that's a big part of your job too.
Yeah, we want to help guide people to businesses that are reliable and have a proven track record. So on our website, or if you call the Better Business Bureau, we have reports on 17,000 companies now where you can call and find out if it's an F-rated business or an A-plus rated business. And we have businesses through that whole spectrum. And we try and encourage people to check us before they hire or before they buy, so they know they're dealing with a reputable business.
All right, Chris, I know you don't really want to just talk about business. You want to talk about this game tonight. We've talked about the Dowling offense and defense, and Vino Valley's a good football team. What is it, and I've asked this already, but just a little different, what is it fun? Why do you think people do stand in line for blocks and minutes, hours at a time to come to this?
Well, we probably have people that cheer for all kinds of teams watching. But I'll tell you, people come in and cheer for Dowling because this is a real community. I've seen 10 or 12 people that I went to high school with tonight already. And you run into people. My brother and my sister are here, and their nieces and nephews. It's a great environment that you kind of come together like we're all on the same team, and people are counting on us being here. And we really believe in our brains that the team's going to be playing better because I'm here. So we feel connected to this, and it's very fun.
One thing that I've noticed in doing both Valley and Dowling games, and I've been around the state to see things, there are very few. I think of a Bettendorf has this. I think a couple of the other schools have this. The team has, once you graduate, you've already got 2 graduates out. You still are going to, and when you get all 5 out, you're still going to come to the games.
Oh, yeah. When I moved back to Des Moines, I went to college, lived away for about 3 or 4 years. When I moved back to Des Moines, I wasn't going to miss the first Friday night game. I couldn't wait to get out there, connect with old people, see how the Maroons were doing. It's very fun. Dowling is lucky because the teachers that are there, the staff, have a huge commitment to what they're doing. Often they're working for a lot less money than what they might make other places. They believe in it, so they're there a long time. There's still a whole department full of people that taught me 30 years ago. This is my 30-year class reunion year, but they're real committed, and so you see a lot of teachers and other people that make this a real family experience.
Where'd you go to college again?
I went to St. Ambrose.
That's what I thought, in Davenport.
Yeah.
That's what I was thinking, is that you went to St. Ambrose.
Yeah.
And Chris, you came when I was back at Wartburg a couple of times speaking to a group. I know you had a student or a worker for you a long time ago that has since passed, and that's the first time that we'd met, and I hadn't thought of her until I saw you.
Yeah.
And, but those are those bonds and things that go, anybody wearing maroon and white tonight, they have bonds like that.
Yeah, they do. You mentioned Melissa, who you remember, and I remember very fondly. A very courageous woman that died way too young. But yeah, all of us that have a chance to go somewhere, whether you're at a big school and in a fraternity or sorority, or you go to a Wartburg or a St. Ambrose, you start to learn that the connections with other people are the most important things about life, and it makes all the difference in the way you view the world and your own life.
Where do you sit tonight, or where are you going to try to sit?
I'm standing right here. I don't know. I don't have a seat yet. Mr. Tarpey grabbed me and said, "Come upstairs," and I ditched my wife.
So you might not have anywhere to stand.
That's right. Actually, my favorite place, you can't turn the camera, is I usually sit or stand up here on this railing about the end zone. But you're up real high, and it's very nice.
A gorgeous night here tonight, light breeze. It should be a nice game. I'm going to still give you a few times to get into your spot. All right, final keys to the game, Chris Coleman.
The keys to the game are like any football game. Usually, it's the line, and with two giant football teams playing, I think Dowling's going to dominate the offensive line, and our defensive front seven are fantastic in the middle. And the thing about Dowling that impresses me that we've been weak on occasionally, we have some big defensive backs. And, some years we've gone out there with good athletes, but they're small, and we go against high-quality receivers, and we can't keep up with them. This year we have big guys, and it's going to be a difference maker.
Rigo Gafford's pretty fun to watch.
Whoa! The Register, another media company, had a picture of him. I don't know if you saw it this week, but he's making a tackle. And so he's playing on the defensive side at the time, and he has the guy wrapped up, and his muscles in his arms and his legs were all juiced up because he was working hard. That kid is fast, lightning fast, rocket fast. But he is he's a man out there too. It's fun to watch him.
All right, Chris Coleman, thank you so much for allowing Peter to grab you, and good to see you, and maybe we'll see you down the road.
Yeah, absolutely. I love what you guys are doing, and I know the numbers are huge watching these webcasts, and I appreciate and want to give a shout-out to all those sponsors that are making it happen.
And give a shout-out. Greg's not here, so you don't have to pay him, but give a shout-out to somebody you think might be watching or someone that you know is watching.
I think my dad is watching, Ron Coleman. He's out in West Des Moines tonight. They didn't come down, but they live in Arizona a little bit. So once October comes, they're in Arizona, and they watch all the games on the Internet. So Ron Coleman, class of 1957 at Dowling. We're all fans. So
Chris Coleman, class of 73.
83.
83. I'm thinking, well, Ryan was talking about 73 earlier, and then when you said 30, you did say 30, and, math is not my thing. That's why I went into broadcast.
You were at the journalism department at Wartburg. They didn't make you take math.
That's why I married my wife, the accountant.
I love it.
All right.
I love it.
Chris Coleman, thank you so very much, and helping us fill some of this time and get you informed about what's happening. We are they're having the coin toss right now on the field. We're just a few minutes away. We are going to hear from head coach of the Valley Tigers, Gary Swenson. We're also going to hear from the head coach of Dowling Catholic, Tom Wilson. We'll hear from him in just a moment. We're going to pause just for a little bit here on the field as you're going to see some of those CFL players, the Catholic Youth Football League. They're going to make their way out of the field right now, and we're going to hear from Coach Tom Wilson. As you watch this, we'll hear from Coach Tom Wilson in just a moment here. You're watching ValleyWebcasting.com. I also want to let you know, give us a sign out on Twitter. Give us a shout-out at Dowling Webcast, or you can follow us on Facebook at Dowling Webcasting. My name is Paul Yeager. Tom Wilson and Gary Swenson coming up next here on the pregame show from Drake Stadium. Back here on the pregame show, Paul Yeager along with Billy Battistone. We're also going to talk with head coach Tom Wilson in just a second. We're going to hear what he has to say. Here's Coach Tom Wilson talking about the Valley Tigers as we get ready for kickoff here from Drake Stadium.
Coach, the best part of your victory at Southeast Polk was what?
I really thought defensively we played well as a whole. We gave up the one big play early, but then I thought we controlled the line of scrimmage after that, and I think held them to 9 yards rushing, which you can do something like that, certainly good things will happen.
Do the defense and the offense will follow?
Well, you certainly hope so, and we've always felt that defensively we were ahead of the offense, and I thought you could see that certainly on Friday night. They put us in good positions that we didn't take advantage of, especially in the first half. But certainly they helped us out, and hopefully that will continue.
What did you like best about the offense? I mean, you ran a lot of plays, got a lot of things in game situation, review on your tape. What did you like about the offense?
Well, I thought our tempo was good, and you mentioned running a lot of plays, and that's really a major goal for us. But we were also able to hit a couple of big plays. Rico Gafford, 2 touchdown receptions, and then Ryan Boyle taking off on the long run at the beginning of the second half was really big for us.
Does Boyle get too much attention on the from your side of calling his name or putting him in position to make plays, or there's no easing him back in? He's full competitor and wants to play.
Yeah, he would think something was wrong if we tried to ease him back into it. I mean, that's just who he is and what he is, and you know, a lot of his rushes weren't designed rushes for him. He just started making something out of very little, and there was times where we thought he bailed out of the play too soon. We called a screenplay one time, and it ends up being a Ryan Boyle run. So sometimes what you call is not what you're going to get.
Who graded out well for you?
Really defensively, John Swisher was dominating, one of our defensive tackles. We thought JoJo Jock played very well. Also thought Max Morris did some good things. Jake Luton. Eric Austin is one that I think we'll start hearing more about. I thought he played well defensively. On the offensive line, really, especially in the second half, I thought we started to take control. Curvin was back to his dominating self, and then we took him out fairly early in the second half just to protect him a little bit. And Elijah Suela making his first start at left tackle did some good things.
So you like that, the way that came out. Best part about playing Valley is?
Well, I just think being a part of the traditional rivalry. You know, we know that a Gary Swenson team is going to be very well coached, and things that we perceive to be strengths may not be strengths by the time the game's over, and it's probably the same for them, but it's just a pleasure to be a part of it.
And the atmosphere that you have when you play this at Drake Stadium, it's a college atmosphere.
That's crazy, to be honest with you. The media that surrounds this, and really people that probably come from afar to try to see it, and you know, our pass list and our sideline requests are in record form, and Coach O'Connor's been dealing with that most of this week. So it's going to be a great atmosphere and fun to be in.
How do you keep your guys in check to not get wrapped up in it?
I just think from practice, and you know, our routine's no different whether we're playing, you know, Valley or we're playing Fort Dodge or Mason City. It's the same. And the surroundings become different, and really what we tell our kids is, you know, your job is to worry about what happens here. What happens everywhere else doesn't make a difference.
Tyus Mason has been a concern for you for the 3 years that he's played, and year 3 here. How do you stop him?
Oh, it's really hard. We have to do a great job at the line of scrimmage. He can cut back at any time. He's got good enough speed to get outside. He's just slippery, and you very rarely get a good hit on him, and it's going to have to be gang tackling and 11 hats to the football.
Is there somebody defensively that's usually assigned to him, or do you just stay at home? Do you change the base of the Dowling D?
No, we don't assign someone to him. It's just team defense is all it is.
All right, quarterback-wise, they've made changes. Not exactly sure who you're going to see. Does that change how you approach it?
Not at all. Their quarterbacks are similar. You know, honestly, I don't know who we will see, but the offense runs through Tyus, and then everything comes off of that. Drew Gray is a good back as well. I could see them split Tyus out, try to throw in the bubble screens, try to get him loose on jet sweep. So they'll probably be creative in how they try to get him the ball, and those are some things that we prepared for, and I'm sure they've got some things for us that we haven't.
They know they can run, or at least that's what they'd like to do. Throwing the football, it's kind of hard to do when you got a guy like Rico Gafford out there at corner. What's that mean for Luke DeVenny?
Well, I think you saw last week Luke's going to get tested a little bit more, and I thought Luke acted like he was a 2-year starter last week and had 2 picks and really played well. And so Rico will get tested at some point as well, and you know, Nick Wilson back there at free safety is going to get his shots too.
Talk about Wilson moving from the quarterback spot of the offense to the defense, how he's running things and making calls for you. How does he see the field from where you see him in practice in that first game?
I thought he played well in the first ball game. He came up and was a physical player, and that's one of the things that we needed to see. And you're right, that's one of the things we talked to him about. You're going from the quarterback to the offense to a quarterback of the defense, and He's kind of a quiet kid, and Joey Miller has helped him with that transition. Joey played free safety a year ago, and he's also got Devaney back there, and also Luton has played an awful lot of football. So they're helping him along, and he's only going to get better as we go.
How does this defense rate right now? Are they? A coach would always say they could always do better. Where is that improvement? But they're playing pretty good right now.
Well, they are, and I thought Southeast Polk, they end up getting their share of passing yards, but we made them one-dimensional. If we can do that tonight, that greatly increases our chances, and it's going to be a tall task to be able to do that, just because I think Valley's offensive line is good, and we've already talked about Tyus. So if we can get them in passing situations and get off the field on third down, we've done our job.
Coach, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Paul Yeager and Billy Battistone back here in the press box as we get ready for Valley and Dowling, as the Dowling band has made their way onto the field. And hold on here, Billy. It's one of those things where we're always going to be working. But here we are back inside as the band is on the field, and we're going to pause when they do the national anthem and get you ready for this football game. But we're also going to get a chance to hear from head coach Gary Swenson and see what he has to say about this game. And this is a contest, as you look across here at Drake Stadium, you see the orange, you see the white, you look on the near side, you see the maroon, you see the white. A lot of good room yet to be filled, but they're still filing into this football game that should have started 10 minutes ago. And they're just trying to find a place to sit to see this good football game.
Well, if you look around the stadium, you can see, it's a lot of people standing, a lot of people still getting in the seats. And during our break, I was standing outside, and the line to get in the stadium is all the way down to the stoplight, which is about 5 blocks down the road. So it'll get full, and it's Dowling, it's Valley. We'll talk about it all night long, but it's a special football game, and people crowd the stadium to see it. I love the fact that it's at Drake, because it really provides that environment to give the most people an optimal spot to watch the game. So, aren't you concerned that Drake's going to ask you for money, being an alum back on campus? That didn't take very long after I graduated, but I said I can donate some of my time. I don't have a ton of it, but I give some of it as much as I can. And I told him once I finish my grad school, we'll talk. So, and that's something that we talked about last year. You're underway in the administration side of things. Yep. Just starting my second year in that program, and then looking to start applying for doctorate programs starting next year. So, making moves in my professional career. So, and you want to be the boss. That's what's always fun. Yeah. Dr. Dowdle and Dr. Deegan keep giving me a hard time that I'm coming for their jobs. That's not the case. Well, Dr. Deegan, he's still got plenty of good years left, but if he sees the right replacement coming, that's right. Maybe Dean Bossum or something like that. Let him focus on something else. But the Dowling Catholic Marching Band is out playing the national anthem right now. We'll pause and listen to the Dowling Catholic Marching Band as they honor America with the playing of our Star-Spangled Banner. The Dowling Catholic Marching Band honoring America with the playing of our national anthem. We will now listen to head coach Gary Swenson. Coach, this is an environment that is pretty exciting. Your home place is pretty exciting, but this one's special too.
Well, it's just bigger. It's got a collegiate atmosphere, obviously, because it's a college field, and it'll allow everybody a chance to sit down and watch the game. There'll be a good crowd here. We like playing here. Everybody makes a big deal that they don't want to play at our place, but I'm fine with that. I don't mind coming here. It's good for our kids to have to come out here in this environment, on this field, and play. And I think it helps us as we go through the season.
Regardless of where you play, what does this game mean to you and your team?
We're still finding out what kind of team we have, and I think when you play a quality team, one of the better teams, if not the best team in the state, you find out in a hurry where you're at. And our goal tonight is to stay in this thing as long as we can, because if you do, you never know what will happen at the end. They have quite a bit of firepower, obviously, in a Division I caliber quarterback, so we'll have our hands full.
Did any personnel change or things develop for you from last week's game that maybe something changed?
No big changes. There'll be a few kids that'll be in maybe bigger roles than they were last week, but from a starting position, we're still where we were at last week. We lost our kicker, I think everybody knows. Cole Hahn was the 9th grader that kicked for us last year, and he tore his ACL, unfortunately. So Finn Doherty's a senior, and he's a capable kicker. He'll do fine. But other than that, we came out of that game pretty clean injury-wise, so that's not going to be an excuse tonight. We got everybody available.
And 2 quarterbacks.
And 2 quarterbacks. We want to find one eventually, but there's still 2 there.
Any not strategy, but scenarios that one plays over another?
No, we don't have anything scripted. We're going to kind of play it by ear. Talon will start the game. I'm sure Connor will play, but I think they're going to get better. This is a tough learn-on-the-job place, though. You got to be able to perform out here. This isn't a game where you can just get experience. You got to be able to make plays.
Do you have to stop Ryan Boyle to win this game?
Well, he's the key. I mean, he's going to have the ball in his hands every play, and between the mix of run and pass that he has, he's pretty hard to handle.
Coach, thank you.
You bet, Paul.
You know, it was 6 years ago when I came to choose a new dental practice, and I found one where I really felt comfortable with the dentist and the staff. A family atmosphere at Advanced Family Dentistry. I'm Marty Terrell, I'm the mouth of the Midwest, and this is 1/3 of the dental team here, and Dr. Gregory Brandt. A commitment to excellence with you and your partners.
Well, thank you, Marty. We came to Ankeny because it was a great family place to come and great schools, and it's continued to be that way. And been very blessed because the practice has grown to the point where in 2006, Dr. Scott Yagi came on board too, and then Dr. Amanda Stewart just about 3 years later. So we've kind of grown with the community, continued to be just a great place to raise a family and live and work.
It's AnkenySmiles.com, 907 North Ankeny Boulevard. It's the home of the champions. It's Ankeny, Iowa, and Advanced Family Dentistry.